Scene 4, take 1. Action.
People in Devon have been able to hear Mother Nature.
I remember the different types of photos we did, like high-key and low-key.
My public speaking has improved massively after doing the films and the plays.
I remember going in the hall and then we were pretending we were swimming. I remember when we went on the walk out in the fields and then made a story about it.
I remember, first of all, how excited the children were every week knowing that you were coming in to do it, because it was just a different way of teaching for them, and they absolutely loved spending a whole day engrossed in stories and artwork and learning different ways to tell stories, really.
I feel more confident being up on stage and using my words, because I'm not that confident on stage.
So I would say that, bearing in mind today is SATS Results Day, I think the impact can be seen in a number of children who were heavily involved in the project who came away with greater depth for writing. I think we had 6 this year, 4 of whom were really heavily involved in different elements of the project.
I think it also showed me that there are different ways to engage different learners, because what I found throughout the project is that the children who didn't want to put their hands up, who would always sort of sit back and listen but not fully engage, they gradually became more confident and realised that there is no right answer when it comes to storytelling. It's all about imagination and creativity, and that was celebrated and encouraged, and they would all have a go. So by the end I was seeing all of my learners who, the SEN learners, the less confident learners, they were all getting involved. It was really lovely to see.
At home I always used to tell my siblings stories and I always used to read from a book, but now sometimes I just do it off the top of my head and make up my own stories.
Well, I use the story maps in nearly every narrative unit that I teach, because it really helps the children to focus on the different parts of a story. So usually what they're doing is innovating a story and then they will adapt that story.
It's kind of opened my eyes to another way of teaching children how to get better at writing, because narrative, we often in school, we start with a text, we start with a story, which is great. We often look at it, read it, and then we kind of do our own versions of it. But to actually start from scratch and actually make it real and go out into the environment and use what we have here. They make the decisions, they make the characters, and they make the story, and I then wrote the story map for them from that. I think that's definitely been the biggest bonus, and then from it all the other areas of the arts come from that.
I've got better making stories up in my head.
Instead of staying inside, it's made me want to go out and find objects and make up stories about them and see what's around me.
All of the children, and I think that's really important, that it is not just the ones that typically would have answered back in class. It's all of the children have got something to say, all of the children participate, and all of them feel confident to say something within class.
I've got better and more confident in acting.
I feel more confident in using more art techniques than I used to know.
It was clear to see during the project that not only were the children learning and applying new skills and vocabulary, but the teachers were too, which they still use in their classroom practice today as a legacy of the project for the school and for each new class.
With the artwork, there was so much. There was all the tone, the shading, different use of colours, the mixed media. Again, all things which I've taken away and still use because the children responded to it so well.
I've learnt a lot more skills in art and I've become more confident in art.
Their confidence with being in front of the camera, with the photography and filming, they all wanted to have a go, even the really quiet children, those with less confidence originally, they kind of came out of themselves, and it was a lovely experience for all of them to be able to do that in a safe environment, because they were all nurturing of each other too.
Learning how to collage pictures to make one more big picture.
So, how many pictures did we have there? That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I remember when we put the figure on the table and figured out how to get the correct lighting.
I got more confident better at filming and being filmed.
I'm more confident in using cameras and stuff, making videos and photos.
The mastery, mantle of the expert and speak like an expert approaches to our project developed and refined storytelling skills through 4 art forms. Working with professional artists, the children were supported to practice and perfect their stories to be shared publicly. The project culminated in a live multimedia performance and exhibition with 10 schools in 2 multi-academy trusts.
They're just more eager to produce something, and the quality that they produce compared to previous years, I think, is so much better. They just have that sort of in them to want to make it, want to do well, want to make it not perfect, but they have a high standard of themselves, and that is really reflected in their work.
I think it really made a big impact. I've had so many memories with all my friends from my class, and being able to go home with so much excitement that I try and recreate all the things we've done in the class that day.
We are an area of rural disadvantage, and the children need to see careers that they can go to and mediums that they can use in their later life. The projects really help the children broaden their horizons to see what's out there past our county borders, and they can use those skills and talents for their transition to secondary school and then further on.
I think that AVTTOS has inspired me to do things that I would never usually do.
It's just made me more confident, like, overall with everything.